be water, air, nutrients, and soil, okay? And you also have the biotic components, plants, animals, and microbes, all right? So let's do a quick quiz. What is the sun? Abiotic or biotic? Okay, good. That's abiotic. What is the fox? Well, it's living, so it should be biotic. The rabbit? Biotic. What about the soil? Abiotic. What about these little microbes in here? If they're microbes, that means they're living. Biotic. What about water? Good. Abiotic. And the tree. Well, that would be biotic. How about the atmosphere right here? Okay, good, right? That's abiotic. That's air, non-living. Good. Okay. Major components of a freshwater ecosystem. Again, just kind of like now you've taken the food chain and you've put it in the aquatic system. You have plants here, which are the start. Those are the phytoplankton. You've got the zooplankton, which are smaller critters that eat them, and then it goes up from there. You have the decomposers that are taking care of things at the bottom after they die, and that would be your freshwater lake ecosystem. Okay, something I need to discuss with you, copy down the definition for the law of tolerance. Okay, this is the distribution of species in an ecosystem determined by the level of one or more physical or chemical factors being within the range, here's the important part, tolerated by that species, the law of tolerance. Okay, so let's take, for example, this characteristic of fish, all right, and this is temperature. So right here, you can see the bell curve that goes up and over. This is very hot. This is very cold right here. Okay, what is the range of temperature that they prefer to live in? Well, they're probably most successful if they can live in an aquatic environment that would have a temperature somewhere right in the middle. Think about us. What time of the year is it great to live in Florida? June, July, August? What about November and December, all the way up until May? Why? Because of temperature, right? Humidity's gone, it's cooler at night, it's cooler during the day, you're not sweating the minute you walk to your car. So we enjoy a range of tolerance with temperature, and so do all the other animals. Once we start changing that range of tolerance, then we start seeing problems within that species or that population. Okay, and for a sugar maple, I want you to tell me why is the sugar maple only found in this green area in the United States? Why is it not found in other parts of the United States? Why just this green area? All right, so the limiting factor principle states that too much or too little of any abiotic factor can limit or prevent growth of a population, even if all the other factors are at near the optimal range of tolerance. An abiotic factor such as water or poor soil can be understood here. So even though this tree, this sugar maple, could potentially live in all of this area of the United States, the abiotic factor, such as soil, maybe the pH is different, maybe there's too much water the further you go south, or maybe not enough water the further you go south. Maybe temperature plays a role in it as well, right? Isn't it cooler temperatures up in the shaded air, green area? And once you get down here, right, what happens? It gets hotter. So maybe that this maple tree is only designed to withstand the range of tolerance that is within this shaded area and can't live in the other areas. Too cold up here, too hot down here. Maybe the soil isn't right after the Appalachian Mountains. Okay. And then we should all know that we've got autotrophs. What do those do? They make their own food, right? What would be an example of that? Plants, algae, right? And they're the start of the food chain and food web. And then you've got herbivores, which feed on plants. You can also say those are vegetarians for humans. Carnivores, they feed on animals. Omnivores feed on both plants and animals. So which one would we be? An carnivore, omnivore, detritivore, decomposer, or herbivore? Hopefully we're not a detritivore or decomposer. We're us. This is humans. Most of us are omnivores, which means we eat both plants and animals. Vegetarians are strictly the herbivores. All right? And then detritivores feed on dead organic matter and break it into smaller molecules, and then the decomposers come along, the bacteria and the fungus, and they break it down into inorganic compounds. All right, so let me show you what that means. That means this. Here is your detritivores. They eat the wood, but they don't break it down into the inorganic compounds that will go back into the soil. That's what mushrooms and bacteria do. So this is the time and progression. You've got going from left to right. You've got your larger animals, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller until you reach the mushrooms, which break down all of the organic matter into soil, into the soil. Okay? Natural ecosystems produce little waste or no waste. In nature, waste becomes food. Eventually, we'll become food too. Okay. Things that you should remember from biology is photosynthesis and cellular respiration. You must know the equation for photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Now, is this energy or is this a nutrient cycle? This is a cycle, okay? So that means it's continually going round and round. Here we go. Ready? Plants breathe in CO2. They soak up water. They absorb sunlight. And in return, they produce glucose, sugar, and oxygen. The sugar is turned into energy for themselves or eventually turned into energy for some sort of primary consumer. We breathe in the oxygen. We eat food which contains sugar. We expel water and CO2, and the cycle goes round and round and round. Plants, just an FYI, plants do both photosynthesis and cellular respiration, because cellular respiration is taking sugars and turning it into energy. So the plant first makes the sugar and then uses some of that to turn it into energy for ourselves. Remember, matter is recycled. Energy flows. Matter cycles. Energy flows in one direction. Okay?